do not accept coffee dates from men, and I just want to talk about it. I do just want to say that my reasons are just that, my own, so don't get under my comment section upset or in your feelings. So why don't I accept coffee dates? Well, besides the fact that I'm really not much of a coffee drinker, I find that coffee dates are low effort, they are cheap, and they are the biggest waste of time, honestly. So when I go on dates, I truly do like to look my best because I do believe that first impressions matter. So I really do put a lot of effort into my look, and I find that putting effort into my appearance for $5 bean juice is a waste of time. So when you ask a man, why do you like to take women out for coffee dates? They will give you a bunch of reasons, and I'm just here to tell you that they will never tell you the true reason as to why they ask women out on coffee dates. They're going to lie to you, they are going to guilt trip you by asking if you need free food, if that's why you're asking for him to take you on a proper date. Do you need free food? Are you hungry? And it's really just because they want the woman to be able to prove that she is worth a proper meal. I don't care about what reasons they tell you, oh, why does the price matter? It's about connection. You should only be focused. No, they don't believe in that. They really just want you to prove that you are worth a dinner, that you are worth a lunch. And with that information, with that knowledge, it's honestly disrespectful for a man to ever propose to me a coffee date. I wouldn't even go on a coffee date with my friends. My friend knows better not to ask me to have coffee with her. And I know better not to ask my friends that either because they're going to feel the same exact way. If we are going to get coffee, it's going to be on our way to the restaurant, or and I know better not to ask my friends that or on our way back from the restaurant. So I met a girl in class last semester on our way back from the restaurant. So I met a girl in class last semester on her way back from the restaurant who told me that she showed up to her coffee date in a bonnet, oversized sweatsuit, those black Adidas pool slides, and mixed match socks. Because she told me that whenever she was going to get coffee, she was looking like who did it and why. So she showed up to the date exactly like that. And the guy that she met up with was so upset. That's honestly why I don't believe men when they say that a date is only focused solely on connection and that all the other stuff doesn't matter. If that was the case, the guy wouldn't care about how she looked like on the date. He would just care to get to know her, right? But no, he was expecting her to show up looking all done up. It was only one man who has ever asked me out on a coffee date, and I just ended up blocking him because, like I said, because I know why men truly ask women out on coffee dates, I find it very disrespectful, and I just don't want to deal with that. So you will be blocked. When you're asked out to a coffee date, you're literally wasting money. You're getting dressed up and putting on $20 lipstick, $100 perfume, spending an hour on your makeup, putting on a nice outfit that may cost a lot, putting on your shoes, driving in your car for gas, and then you show up at Starbucks for a $5 cup of coffee. So, yeah, hygiene products as well. So that's why I say don't go on coffee dates because it means you're low maintenance. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
This is why you should never accept a coffee date for a first date. Perhaps it sounds convenient to you because you don't need to spend a whole evening with a stranger you may not like. But a guy who just invites you for coffee shows such low effort, it almost shows as if he's not interested in getting to know you. As if he says, let that girl prove herself first before I'm willing to take her out for dinner. But let me tell you what this says about you. If you accept a coffee date, that actually shows that you accept the bare minimum, and that shows how you see yourself. Because if you don't see yourself as being worthy of something more than just a coffee, how can he be convinced? The purpose of dating is to meet new people and maybe to meet a potential boyfriend while having fun. But a coffee date doesn't sound like fun. It sounds more like a job. Okay, I'll go sit there for half an hour, see if he's worth it, see if I like him, and then we're talking. And then it's the coffee date that becomes a waste of time because how much can you get to know somebody in half an hour to an hour? Let him take you out for dinner and enjoy it. And never forget you're a free woman. If you don't like the guy, kindly excuse yourself and leave.
Look, you guys can go on coffee dates if you want. I am not trying to knock like another woman's decisions, but knowing what I know about men, like I won't do that because they literally put us in categories right from the very beginning, right? And I cannot fall into the category, oh, she seems cute, let's see where this goes, low effort date. She can like prove that she's worth going to dinner with or like spending more time with. If you don't see my inherent value from the beginning, if you don't pursue me in the way that you would be pursuing your dream girl, I get the ick. The fact that there's another woman out there that you would pull out all the stops for or put in the effort for, because I guarantee you there is. Guarantee you there's always somebody that they would do it for. And I'm not that person, that means you are not my person. Absolutely not.
Absolutely nobody can convince me that coffee dates are acceptable, no matter how hard people have tried over the years. So this is an absolute no for me. Heavy on the for me, because I know a lot of people on here struggle to understand that people have different opinions than they do. This is not only my opinion, but this is also my experience. Not everybody has had this type of experience in dating, so they don't understand that it's possible. But for me, I think men should be the ones to make effort when it comes to dating, taking women out, planning a date, picking a nice place. Like, girls spend probably around 2 hours getting ready. At least I know that I do. So between her getting all ready, having her nails done, her hair, her makeup, picking out a cute outfit and all that, to be then going out and meeting somebody and not even getting a meal out of it, like, that's a big fat no to me. To be spending time and effort on my end to meet a guy who has to make the absolute bare minimum effort, because literally all they need to do is brush their hair and put on clothes and then they can leave the house. After that, I've already put in my effort. So now to meet somebody out and he can't even pay for a plate of food for you, like, that to me is just unacceptable. Now, if this feels like a suitable date option for you, then go for it. I think everyone should do what they want. I think everyone should trust their own gut, their instinct, follow their heart. Just do what feels right to you. So I kind of feel like if you're even asking this question, then it doesn't feel right to you, because if you enjoyed going on coffee dates, then you wouldn't be on TikTok asking me if they're acceptable. I feel like
So one of my rules is I don't do coffee or drink dates. Now, I understand that some women like this or prefer this because it's a quick turnaround, 30 to 45 minutes. If you don't like him, you can get out of there. It works for some people. If you like it, I love it. This video is not for you. Keep scrolling. However, for me, as for me and my household, we're going to have higher standards. I'm talking to this guy, and I'm going to read it to you because we've been talking for a couple days, and he started talking about meeting up. So he said, we should get together over some pear and lychee cocktails soon. And I said, that's really sweet, but I prefer dinner. I like to get dressed up. Now, I always try to say it nicely because I don't want to be like, I don't accept drink dates. Like, you don't have to be mean. You don't have to be, you can be nice about it, but I always just say I prefer dinner because I like to get dressed up. And he said, I see. What type of places do you have in mind? So I sent him a list of places that I've been like wanting to try, all sorts of different budgets. Okay. It ranges from like medium to a little bit higher, all different locations around the city. So he can choose like what works for him, timing and budget wise. So I sent the list of places. He says, these places sound really nice. I think it'll be fun to get to know each other over some nicer dining options. Here it comes though. But I wanted to let you know up front that if we were to meet at one of those places, I'm comfortable splitting the check. I usually will do drinks or something on the simpler end for the first meetup to see if there's a connection first. So my thing is, I don't like the coffee or drink date because they're trying to audition you to see if you are worth an actual dinner. This is the thing for me. Like, I know men. The number one thing men are judging you off of is your looks, right? When they see you, they meet you, they're gonna be like, okay, how beautiful is she? Is she put together? Do I find her attractive, right? That's the number one thing. Your personality may come second, sure, but the first thing is how you look, right? So with that in mind, my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer costs $32, okay? Why would I put on a full face of expensive makeup, do my hair, make sure my nails are done, make sure there's no hair on my body, and then come and spend 2 hours of my time talking to you for an $8 coffee or a $16 cocktail? Be oh so for real. And let's take it even deeper. When women go out with a man that they do not know, they take a huge risk.
Men are crazy. Okay, do you watch the news? Like 1 in 5 men are violent. He could unalive you, he could RAPE you, he could stalk you, he could harass you if he feels like it. Like, it is very dangerous, extremely dangerous. When you go out with a man, you have to share your location with your mom and your friend. You have to send a screen recording of his Hinge profile and the conversation that you guys had so that if you go missing, they have context. You have to text your friend every half an hour while you're with him to let her know that you haven't been beheaded. You have to take an Uber so that he doesn't know what kind of car you have, just in case he's crazy. And then when you get home, you have to text somebody to tell them that you made it home alive. Men aren't doing that. They don't have to worry when they meet a woman that they do not know that their lives will be in danger. Quite the contrary, men benefit from just being seen with you in public, okay? If you are beautiful, poised, well dressed, it reflects well on him. People look at him and they think, oh wow, he must be the man. Ooh, he probably has money. You know what? He's probably a good guy if he can pull her. And this is especially so if you are more attractive than him. If he's fugly or he's overweight or he's short, they're like, oh yeah, he must have money in order to be able to pull a baddie like that. So my thing is like, what's in it for women? We've already spent more money than you by just putting our makeup on. We're in danger. Like, what's in it for us? So then all of that plus this man is a pharmacist, okay? You mean to tell me you make upwards of $150,000 per year, but you can't take me to $120 to maybe $200 dinner, 2 drinks, an appetizer, 2 entrees, and a dessert? Like, and that kind of thing. Look, men are supposed to be on their like best behavior when they're doing a first interaction with a woman. Like, that is when they are at their absolute best. So if he's being cheap now for a first interaction, he's going to be cheap on your birthday. He's going to be cheap on Christmas. Like, that kind of thing, that only gets worse. It never gets better. That is the type of man that's going to want you to work full time, pay half the rent when you guys move in together, do the majority of the housework because he doesn't want to hire a housekeeper, raise the kids, plan most of the things, and then after you do your 16-hour shift of labor, he's going to want you to be happy and sexy for him for his pleasure that night. Like, that's the kind of life you're looking at. So you know what? Good for this man for asserting his boundary. He did it very nicely, and it showed me what his like attitude or approach is when it comes to dating new women, and ultimately it gave me the opportunities to choose. And I have my boundaries too, so I chose to not accept it. And so I didn't respond or anything. I didn't like bargain with him or try to justify anything. I just quietly unmatched him because I wasn't gonna let him play in my face. But like, obviously, if you're on TikTok, like, this is not irregular discourse. Like, this is very popular. Like, the Red Pill podcast men are always talking about like all of these things. So like, it's not uncommon. Like, men are trying to get away with this days. They're trying to see what they can do. They're trying to get at you for less than $20. Okay, so the pharmacist tried to give me a coffee date on a Friday. Saturday, a surgeon took me to a beautiful dinner with a view. The next day after that, this other man took me to this food event where the tickets were $250 because he wanted us to have VIP. So don't feel scarce about it because there are plenty of men, there are a plethora of men that would be more than happy to show you a good time. So never settle. Date until you find the best man for the job, and you got this. That's my TED Talk for the day. You didn't ask, but I felt like you would listen. Send this to one of your friends who needs to raise their standards and tell me what you feel like in the comments.
So, hot take. Coffee dates, ice cream dates, drink dates, etc. are low effort. Okay. I had this man ask me on a date tonight, and he said, oh, let's go for drinks. I would love to take you out. And I told him, respectfully, no, I only do dinner dates. He was like, oh, I don't do dinner dates on the first date. Blocked. I'm not about to play with y'all, okay? These men, we need to, as women, we need to stop letting these men get away with low effort dates and literally doing the bare minimum, okay? Because first of all, why are you trying to get me impaired on the first date? Or why are you trying to get impaired around me on the first date? I'm uncomfortable. Absolutely not. Dinner is great. You can have drinks at dinner. No. And I get it. I feel like as women, a lot of us think of
short commitment dates such as drinks, coffee, etc., as a way for you to leave if things are uncomfortable, or like a quick exit, right? However, that's not how men view things. They're not coming from a safety standpoint. They're trying to get you turned, and also looking at it financially. Like, I'm not going to spend all that money on this girl. Thinking that dinner is that much of an investment is problematic and toxic. I don't deal with it, and I'm not going to argue about it. Blocked. These idea of a woman sharing her time and energy with a man, and him acting like, I don't know if that's worth the price of dinner. If you want a provider, he's the kind of man that doesn't mind providing a meal on a first date. He's not somebody who's worried about being used. Sometimes it's not about the man and his means, it's about the man and his mentality. The kind of men that are like, I only do drinks dates and I only do coffee dates. That's fine. Don't do them with me. Don't compromise on what you want because this one dude won't do it. Because what one man won't, another man will. One of the best pieces of advice that my mother ever gave me is what you compromise to get, you must compromise to keep. So when you start off doing coffee dates and drinks dates, knowing you don't like that, knowing that's not what you want, you're going to have to keep compromising. And once he's talked you down off your standard, he knows your standards don't really need much. So he's going to keep testing those boundaries. I don't care if on the first date, you went out with me and you say you don't do coffee dates, and here we are at Starbucks. Like, he's going to keep testing those boundaries. He's going to keep you lowering your standards till you barely recognize who you are because you're so busy trying to impress him. If he's worried about the cost of buying a woman a meal on a date, he can't afford to date. He's trying to date on a budget. He can get in 5 or 6 coffee dates for the price of a decent dinner. So that's what he's trying to do. It's not your job to make his dating more affordable for him. I'm not saying go out to eat and order 48 oysters as an appetizer. Nobody's saying that. But what I am saying is, girl, get what you want. They chase, we choose. We're not lowering our standards so that somebody's dusty son can meet them. There is an epidemic going around called coffee dates. Growing up, literally since high school, a date has always been dinner or some sort of fun activity that required thought and planning. And I'm realizing in my adult years that dates are now becoming, hey, let's meet up for coffee or let's grab drinks. I'm not as opposed to drinks as a date, I'll tell you why, but asking you to go get coffee is literally the most low effort date a man could possibly take you on next to come over to my place and Netflix and chill. And I don't know when it became such a normal thing to the point that it's like a debate, like people are debating whether or not this is acceptable because so many men are suggesting let's grab coffee as a first date. Dating apps have played a huge role in the rise of coffee dates, in my opinion, because both men and women don't want to commit to sitting down to a dinner or like spending an extended amount of time with someone. There is a very easy workaround to that requires just a little bit of effort on your part and the guys, and that's getting on a phone call to vet each other out, see if you like the other person's energy, get a chance to ask all your red flag questions, and if you're still feeling them after that, then go on a real date. I just got off a 30-minute phone call with a guy that I met on Hinge. We messaged for a little bit on the app, and then I was like, okay, call me, because I too do not want to sit on a date with somebody who I have no interest in once they've opened their mouth. And at the end of the phone call, we're trying to coordinate our schedules to figure out a date, and this guy goes, I take it you're not a coffee person. And I said, no, I'm not. And he said, okay, I'll figure something out. Now, at this point, I will only accept a dinner date or a planned activity date of some sort. This is because we've already vetted each other out. If he ends up asking me out and taking me out, there is already a base level interest there. So from this point forward, I want to see what it would be like to date you. How do you come correct as a man? And I'm going to show him what it would be like to date me and the treatment that I expect. And he can decide whether or not he wants to deal with that. Coffee dates are casual, they are quick, they require no effort, and they are not romantic in the least. I am none of those things, so I will not be going on a coffee date. If you categorize yourself as those things, then go ahead and go on a coffee date, because that is the message that you are sending to someone when you accept those dates. I really don't understand how it has become so normalized that it is the first thing that so many men go to. So please, if you feel like you need to do some recon on somebody before you meet up on a date, get on the phone and vet them out, and stop accepting coffee dates because you are too scared to talk to them or tell them what you really want. There is an
I'm going to tell you exactly why coffee date is in your best interest if you want a long-term, happy marriage. Now listen, I get it. There's a whole lot of information floating around the internet telling you that coffee dates are low effort and that only broke low effort men would actually invite you on a coffee date. However, I want to present another side that proves that this is not true and that actually doing dinner dates works to your disadvantage more than it works to your advantage. The first thing is that this man does not know you and you don't know him. To give him a dinner date when he hasn't yet earned it shows that you don't value your time. He should not get so much face time with you when he has not earned that face time. For two, there was a study that showed that when a person holds or drinks a warm drink, they are more likely to have warm, positive, nurturing feelings about you. And when you're at a coffee house, you are more likely, and he's more likely, to drink a warm drink. Drinking a cold drink first does the opposite. And then last but not least, this advice is for the grown women who are willing to listen and tap into their feminine power. Their feminine power to influence a man to do, be, and give whatever it is that they want. Now, I'm talking about the art of seduction. How has any great master seductress been able to get any man to give her whatever it is that she wanted? She was able to do that ethically through anticipation and curiosity. How is it that you can stir and incite curiosity and anticipation in a man, which is absolutely necessary in order for that man to produce vasopressin for you long term? By creating the anticipation of looking forward to seeing you and only getting a short amount of time with you creates in him a desire to want more. When you give him a little and you allow him to earn more, then he starts to crave it. It causes a biochemical reaction in his body. He's releasing dopamine when he sees you. It drops his serotonin, which makes him think about you more. And then he starts to produce vasopressin. But by creating that curiosity, it allows him to create vasopressin long enough to produce the vasopressin and dopamine receptor sites, which are absolutely necessary. And according to Don Maslar, who wrote the book Men Chase, Women Choose, the receptor sites are necessary in order for that man to bond long term to you. Doing a coffee date increases that chance.
Back when I was dating, one of the places that I would always want to go to for a first date is a coffee shop, and let me explain why. The first reason why I would pick a coffee shop is I don't know how rude they are. I don't know what their personality is like. I don't even know if I'm going to like them, which is why a coffee shop is a great idea, because if they end up being a complete asshole, I can just get my tea and leave. The next reason is because there are some people in this world that feel entitled to your body the moment they buy you dinner. And to be quite honest, I don't have time for that toxic energy. My body is not for sale, and buying me dinner does not mean that you're entitled to touching me. That's why I like meeting at a coffee shop for a first date, because it gives me a better idea of how this person is going to treat me. Are they going to be respectful? Are they going to look me in the eye whenever they talk to me, or are they going to be looking at me like I'm an object? It allows me to get a better feel of who they are before I commit several hours to this person. The next reason is because if I'm going to be hanging out with this person, I want to make sure that they are not only respectful to me, but also respectful to those around me. If someone's being rude to a barista or someone in line, I'm not going to want to hang out with them for a second date. I don't have time for that. I need someone who's healthy and who's polite and who's kind. I don't want to waste my time on someone who lacks basic human decency. One of the most important reasons why I think meeting at a coffee shop is so important is because you want to make sure that you feel safe around this person. If you meet up with them and you're not feeling safe, you don't want to have to commit to an entire dinner with them or several hours doing something else. You want to be able to just get your coffee, talk to them for a few minutes. The moment you start to feel unsafe, just excuse yourself and walk away. And the last reason why I really enjoy meeting at a coffee shop for a first date is because I don't think that person has to prove to me how valuable they think I am. They don't even know me on a first date. Now, don't get me wrong, I do have high standards whenever it comes to being in a relationship, but I'm not going to treat someone that I'm going on a date with like their value to me is equivalent to how deep their wallet is. I'm not trying to use someone, I'm trying to get to know them as a person. I'm going to care more about their personality and who they are as a person than how much money they're spending on me on a first date. I want to get to know them, not use them.
This might make some high-value dating coaches on here mad, but as a real high-value girl, this is why coffee dates are actually the ideal first date. First of all, I value my time way more than I value a guy paying for dinner. Of course he'll pay for dinner once I actually determine if he's actually worth dating in the first place. That's the thing. I don't want to invest hours of my valuable time into some guy that I don't even know. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, yeah, of course. And then during that coffee date, I'll figure out if he's actually worth investing 2-3 hours in for a dinner date. I value my time more than I value the fact that he's gonna get dinner. I'm not looking for a free meal, I'm looking not to waste my time.
If a guy asks you on a coffee date and he's shown no other red flags and your immediate reaction is to get offended and block him and ghost him, then you're part of the problem. Before you jump at me in the comments and call me a pick-me, I am not saying that you lower your standards and go on a coffee date if you want to. What I am saying is that smart women use discernment instead of following hard and fast rules. The common argument is always, oh, if he takes you on a coffee date, it's low effort and he's cheap. Assuming you met this guy on a dating app, how do you know? How do you know? For all you know, he asked the previous girl on a dinner date and the girl told him, I'd rather coffee. So maybe he assumed that you would prefer a coffee date because it's more low-key and it gives you a way out. Again, my message here isn't lower your standards, go on low-effort dates. I'm saying to practice some critical thinking and don't jump to conclusions or prejudge a man's character when you don't even know him. At least communicate the kind of date that you do want and then see his reaction. Because you could be missing out on a really good man by prejudging him so soon when you don't even know enough about his character. If a guy...
When you're going on a first date, let me tell you why I believe that coffee dates are important, opposed to a lot of other influencers and relationship coaches tell you. Now, a lot of people on the internet always tell you that you let him take you out to the most expensive restaurant and order the most expensive food and X, Y, and Z. But here's the thing. When you go on a coffee date, you actually get to sit down and just sip on coffee while you have an intimate conversation, opposed to you being at a restaurant where you have to focus on the food and how you're eating, and you have to wait to finish swallowing your food so you can respond, and vice versa. And now, dating, this goes for both men and women, should be treated as an interview process. You're trying to figure out if you guys are a match or if you guys are just going to be a fling. When you actually get to sit down and have an intimate conversation over coffee, you get to see that person's goals and intentions with you. Now, to add on, a lot of the guys out there are 50-50s, and maybe you're a girl that doesn't like to go 50-50, and if he tries to go 50-50 with you on coffee, at least you know right then and there over something that's not that expensive. Take it as a business transaction. Because are you really going to go to a job interview and waste your time for a job that you don't want? No. Are you going to go out there and waste your time for a guy that you're not a match with? No. And guys, before you go on like, oh, well, wait, this goes for you too. It's a business transaction for men and women. Men, you should be doing the same thing. Interview a woman to see if she has the qualities that you want in a woman, or to see if you have the qualities that she wants. So if you guys are a match and you guys click, therefore you guys can plan on for the second date right then and there. And if you guys are not a match and you guys don't click, you have to say toodaloo. And to add on to why I believe coffee dates are important, you don't know if the person you're going on a date is psychotic, a serial killer, or somebody trying to hurt you, or somebody trying to mug you, or scam you, try to steal your identity, try to steal your money,
Ladies, would you be open to a coffee date for the first date? I know most women expect men to just spend hundreds of dollars on them on a first date, but I think that that's unrealistic. Let me tell you why. If you are dating intentionally to find your husband, to the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, you can't get caught up in how much he's spending on the date, right? And I personally think a coffee date, tea date, whatever, would be the perfect setting to be able to really engage in good conversation, to just even see if we can hold a conversation with one another. And I personally think a coffee date, tea date, whatever, would be the perfect setting to be able to really engage in good conversation, to just even see if, because anybody can spend money on you. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can spend hundreds of dollars, take you to this fancy restaurant, but can we hold a conversation? And I think because so many women are so materialistic and so caught up in, where you won't go for a first date and what you won't do, but in reality, you got to ask yourself, why are you dating? What are you looking for? Are you looking for a free meal, a new purse, or are you looking for your husband? You got to ask yourself that, because y'all be out here expecting this and that from the men that are pursuing you, and in reality, you keep doing the same thing over and over again because you're stuck on where we go for the date instead of the quality of the date. So let me know what y'all think.